At 6 tonight, life and death decisions and who gets to make them. Texas lawmakers are considering a bill that could prevent doctors from writing DNR orders without a patient's permission.
That is short for do not resuscitate. When patients are unable to make the decision, it usually falls on a spouse, next of kin, or someone already designated with the power of attorney. But what happens when nobody else is available to make the call?
KXAN's Phil Prazen takes an in-depth look at the bill lawmakers are taking up during this special session.
Representative Greg Bonin's day job is being a neurosurgeon. He says many people might not know current law places do not resuscitate orders in the hands of a physician.
The key question is that a decision of the patient or is that a decision of the doctor?
One of the issues on Governor Abbott's special session call is to give that life or death power over to the patient. Bonin's bill ran out of time during the regular session. It requires a patient to write the order down or requires that patient or next of kin to give it verbally, as long as there are independent witnesses.
Sometimes, unfortunately, it's a value judgment about that person's life and their quality of life, and I think that's a value judgment that rests with the patient.
Good intentions are very valuable, but sometimes good intentions can be lead to misunderstanding.
Dr. Arlo Welty spoke to us by phone from Houston, where he's an ER doctor. He worries that the bill as written is too black and white. He says the bill needs nuances, where black and white situations may not work, like if a doctor needs to act fast.
In the middle of the night in a busy emergency department, for somebody who shows up, there may not be additional witnesses that are readily available that can be brought into the room.
A similar bill is expected to pass the Senate and come over to the House within the week. Phil Prazen, KXAN News.
And both Representative Bonin and Dr. Welty advise everyone to make a plan with their family about what they would do if they are in a life or death situation. And you can find the forms you need online at the Health and Human Services website. Everything from directives to physicians and family to medical and durable power of attorney. These are forms that need to be filled out now so others can fulfill your wishes. And we have a link to all of them. It's inside Phil's story at KXAN.com.